What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to the series. We are here with episode number 16, I do believe, of the Pittsburgh Pirate franchise. And as you guys will see in front of us, we are finally going to be diving into the 2021 first-year player draft. We are going to be getting into our picks, and something that does make this actually very exciting is the fact that the Pittsburgh Pirates have the number one draft pick. So they're going to be the number one draft pick heading into this season. Very exciting. We're hopefully expecting us to be able to get some big draft picks. We're going to kind of break down each individual draft pick as they kind of roll along, and we're going to talk about their attributes after the fact, after the entire draft, because I kind of want to tell you guys my first expectations of these guys before we actually know exactly how these players are going to pan out after the draft whenever we sign them and we see their true attributes and see if these guys were flops or not, or we got some pretty, young talented prospects to be working with. So that is pretty much the basis of this video. Hopefully this draft doesn't take too long, because I do want to end up trying to squeeze in a game against the Miami Marlins, because we have a 4-game series against them right after the draft. So I did want to show off game 1 of that if we could. So hopefully we'll be able to, and we won't talk everybody's ear off about the entire draft, because this is something that I'm really excited to kind of show off and show some of the young talent that we were able to get. And our number one draft pick, that is going to go to right-handed thrower in Justin Ellis, the starting pitcher. Number 2 he is going to be wearing. He is going to be a plus fastball guy. You're going to be looking at his stats there. He seems to be like a guy that could be a workhorse, could kind of develop pretty good. Stats are pretty much all well-balanced, but the big thing that I did want to talk about, that average fastball being 97. He has a fastball, 4-seam. He also has a slider, a curveball, and a changeup. So a nice mix of pitches. There is one thing that I kind of had an idea of doing, and you guys let me know in the comments down below what you guys think about this. So we have a starting pitcher that we drafted. Obviously, some of the players that are in the actual draft are not in this draft, because these are just the randomly generated players that MLB The Show releases. So let me know if you guys would care or wouldn't care, because I think the number one draft pick of this year is probably going to be Jack Leiter. So I'm thinking about maybe changing Justin Ellis into Jack Leiter, because they kind of have the similar pitch repertoire. So I think it'd be really nice to kind of add Jack Leiter, because there is a potential that the Pirates will actually draft Jack Leiter in actual MLB world, it is a virtual one that we're talking about right now. But let me know down in the comments below what you guys think. Justin Ellis is going to be our number one pick. Really good righty, and super excited to hopefully see what this guy is all about. And diving into pick number 2, that is going to be Val Almonte, the right fielder. He's going to be sporting a number 8. This guy is a pretty well-balanced hitter. He has a lot of upside on the bat. He's also a very, very solid fielder. You can see that is already something that's already well-developed, is that he already has a 70 fielding on the scale. So already currently being able to field above average, well above average actually, and his reaction time's already there. He's already a plus runner. We already know this guy can get a lot of stolen bases. That is something that right now the Pittsburgh Pirates really are kind of struggling at. So I think adding a guy like this could be a really plus thing for our team. He is 21 years old, so hopefully he develops pretty quick, because I don't want to have a guy that's 24 and then only really gets like 6 years before we're going to end up having to pay him a bunch of money. I want a guy that's going to be able to develop in his like 22, 23-year-old career. So hopefully Alred's not there too long in the minor leagues, and hopefully he pans out after the initial pick. So that is going to be round 2, Val Almonte. Next up, we're going to be diving into the balancing round, the competitive compensation round, if you will. And the pitcher that we ended up taking was Marshall Patterson. This is a 65 overall, 70 potential, MLB ETA of 2023, only 18 years old. Another guy that has a solid workhorse, not a guy that's going to walk a lot. The velocity is pretty good. It's okay. It's average right now. He's averaging around 94 miles an hour. Has a really nice mix of pitches, though. That was one of the reasons I seen him, kind of wanted to draft this guy, see what he was all about. The break's also really there, and he has a lot of good breaking balls. As you can see, he has a 4-seam fastball, a slurve. He has a 2-seamer, so that's going to be nice to kind of work the 2-seamer with the fastball and a bunch of the other off-speed. He's going to have some movement with some velocity, so that's going to be nice. He also has the changeup and another sweeping curve. So he has the sweeping curve and the slurve. That's going to be a really nasty combination. I really think Marshall Patterson is going to be a solid pitcher for us. He's only 18 years old, like I mentioned before, born out of Utah. I think he's going to be a solid pick, and I think we kind of got him for a steal in this compensation round. And diving into round number 3 of the player draft, we ended up drafting Pedro Teixeira. This is a guy that is expected to be a huge power bat. He's also a switch hitter. Something that I just absolutely love is that we have a chance to have another switch hitting first baseman, something that is pretty rare in today's day and age, and the Pirates already having Brian Reynolds that is a switch hitter, and we also have Danny Santana. So we just have a bunch of different switch hitters. Pedro Teixeira hopefully can kind of fit into that mix. It's also the fact that he's also comfortable playing in other positions too. He's not just a first baseman. He can also play third base and left field. Only at 19 years old, there's plenty of time to develop this guy somewhere else if we want to kind of move him around there. He's not going to get injured. He has a very low injury risk. Maybe not the guy that's going to, give us a bunch of home runs. Hopefully he is, but it seems like he's going to really crush against righties, and that's really his strong suit. He's also pretty scattered around the field. He's hitting in the left to center, so that's kind of good. Hopefully that's something that he can continue to do, and hopefully this is another guy that could be maybe more of like a Pedro Alvarez, really is going to give us 40 home runs over the wall. Hopefully. So that is Pedro Teixeira, our number 3 pick. And heading into round number 4, we're going to be going with relief pitcher Christopher Garcia, just a high-velocity guy, really hoping that this guy can be a plus strikeout. He's only 18 years old, so a lot of chance to develop. Really don't have too much to add on him, besides he's just going to be a high-velocity, hoping to be a knockout reliever, something to just kind of draft and hope that this guy develops down in the organization. I want to keep some youth relievers down in there, some young arms that we know we can actually home grow and really bring some popular talent that way. And heading into round number 5 is Jermaine Callaway, another switch hitter. This guy is a guy that is expected to be a very plus contact hitter, expecting to be amazing on that. He's also very fast. The fielding is a little bit of a worry, but hopefully he can develop out of that. The power numbers are okay. I'm not really expecting him to be a power hitter. I think this is going to be a guy that is going to be able to kind of just rip a bunch of singles, maybe even some doubles because he's pretty fast, get some stolen bases, but I don't think he's really going to be much of a power hitter. Hopefully maybe down his career he'll develop. He is 202 pounds, so maybe he'll be able to put some over the wall with that, a little bit of plus weight and not being, a real lanky player. He is a right fielder, but I think he's going to fit more as like a left fielder or center fielder because the arm's not really the strongest. So that is Jermaine Callaway, round number 5. Seems like a solid pick still in the draft remaining to get a nice outfielder like him. And last but not least, we are going to be going with Richie Irvin, the shortstop. Also can play second and third. This is an 80 potential 65 overall guy. His MLB ETA, they're actually saying, is going to be 2022. So I think for the last pick in the draft, I think we got an absolute steal. They're saying this guy is super fast with another guy kind of similar to Jermaine Callaway with that plus contact, not quite as much on the right side as what Callaway was, but this guy definitely scatters it around the field. Tendencies are very, very balanced. There's not really a downside to this guy. His fielding seems like it's pretty solid, just not the strongest arm, so maybe he's more of a second baseman than he is anything else. So having someone like this, a huge contact second baseman, I know we have a bunch of just congestion in that middle of the infield area, so we might have to make some trades towards the season if we're going to have some people like Richie Irvin, but those are the way that we drafted them in the draft. So let's kind of talk about their attributes after the draft now. And working on in the snake order, we are going to be starting with round number 6 pick in Richie Irvin. That ended up being a pretty good pick for us, as this guy was the last one that we picked in the draft, and he is definitely ready to play in the major league level. Already a 63 against righties, a 76 against lefties. He's going to be a B potential righty in a 72 overall. Absolutely insane. Good vision already of the 63. Power is not too bad. He kind of resembles a little bit of a Kevin Newman, but with speed. I think this guy is going to be amazing on our team, and I think this guy really just kind of added a whole new level of depth to where next season is going to take us, especially because we're already a competitive team. Hopefully Richie Irvin is a guy that we can really utilize. I don't know if he's going to start at the major league level, but there is a big chance that if injuries arise or things like that, or how players develop and how players are performing at the major league level, Richie Irvin could be the guy that we might see the quickest out of every single player that we actually ended up getting out of this draft. Moving on over to our round number 5 pick, that is Jermaine Callaway. Callaway, the switch hitter, doesn't seem like the potential really held, and seems like he might kind of be a bust. The contact is there, and he does seem like he has a bat that he could maybe get some singles. Doesn't seem like he's going to be pushing too many over the wall. The power's pretty low. He, like I said, did resemble a lot of Richie Irvin. We said that earlier before we seen the attributes, and he does, but the fielding is just horrible. And if this guy really wants to be a guy in the major leagues, I think the fielding definitely needs work. He's only 19 years old, so that's something that we can really focus on. And maybe Callaway, around his 23-year-old age, might be able to see some time in the major leagues for us, or maybe he can be a solid trade piece. But again, with that potential, it's going to be really hard to push this guy away. We did end up signing him because I don't really want to just push this guy away that has huge contact attributes, and he is fast, so he might actually pan out to be well for us. We just had to give him a chance first before we end up chopping him. And moving on to the relief pitcher that we ended up getting out of the draft in Christopher Garcia. Not too much to really talk about for Garcia. The plus fastball was definitely there, rocking at 96 miles an hour. They're saying the average is 18 years old, so he is very young, and 58 overall. Definitely kind of gives me a little bit of glimpse that this guy could make it to the major leagues. The potential not really there, only to see. So, he's a mediocre player. Hopefully, if he can continue to strike people out and really push some things like that, maybe get the breaking balls a little more, as I see the break and the controls a little bit scary. So hopefully Garcia can develop in the minor leagues. We ended up signing him as well, and we are going to continue. I think we signed every single player that was here, so every one of them is going to end up being on our minor leagues once they reach that point, just so everyone is aware. And the new Pedro in town in Pittsburgh is Pedro Teixeira. Hopefully Teixeira can turn things around and be a pretty solid draftee. I'm a little 50-50 on him, but the switch bat with the huge power already against righties, definitely a plus side. I think we're going to try to start him out in AAA and see how the bat performs. The fielding is horrible, but he's a first baseman, and we don't really need him to be too much at first. The only problem that I do have with Teixeira is he doesn't really know another position, so I think maybe if we give him some minor league time to kind of work on developing a new position, maybe throw him out in the outfield and right field, maybe give him some time at third base if we want to be a little risky with it. So there's a lot of options that I kind of want to use with Pedro, and hopefully he can be something a little more versatile than just a first baseman, because that really limits us as far as our bench and everything like that. At least with people like Colin Moran and Todd Frazier, they have other positions that they can play, and we can kind of utilize that strong power on one side a little better. Now diving into our compensation round, which I think we pretty much scored on the compensation round, was Marshall Patterson, the 18-year-old, 68 overall already. So this is a guy that we're definitely going to be probably throwing into AAA. So we expect some of the minor leaguers to start getting traded and shifted around once these guys come, for sure. Maybe some of the guys definitely aren't going to be coming back. So a lot of these guys are going to be pushing, and Marshall Patterson, already at 18 years old, he makes a strong case. A huge repertoire of pitches. He's got a good stamina. He's going to be the workhorse. His velocity isn't too bad, sitting at 69. Nice. And we also are going to be working a lot on just a lot of other things. Hopefully the Ks per 9 can get a little better, but that's pretty much Marshall Patterson. So let's get into round number 2 and then round number 1. And the round number 2 pick, that is Val Almonte. The attributes there, you're going to be seeing this guy is definitely a plus defender. At 21 years old, he has that B potential, and the green arrow is actually pointing up. So hopefully this guy can develop maybe into an A potential superstar. The speed is definitely there. He's a guy that's going to be stealing a lot. Huge base running aggression as well. Kind of balanced stats around on the bat. Not anything too crazy that you can really ooh and ah about. Everything in the mid-40s, a little bit of the upper 40s for the power and the vision, but not really anything too special. Again, 21-year-old right fielder. It's going to be developing in our minor leagues. I don't really expect this guy to be doing too much, so I think he's going to be a guy that we're going to sign and then probably ship in a nice package for next year to kind of boost the team a little bit. But I do want to at least include him because maybe plans will change, and I do want to give you guys a little bit of the idea and add some of the names and keep them into your memory bank, because we are definitely going to be utilizing a lot of these players. So remember the names, because we want to carry this franchise as long as we can and really have a fun and nice experience and try to get Pittsburgh one of those World Series rings. Maybe it's this year in our first try because we have been playing excellent, so we will see. But let's right now break into one of the guys that might make that impact happen in round number 1 pick, and here he is now. Justin Ellis being the number 1 pick. We absolutely scored on the Justin Ellis pick. Looking at this guy, Ellis, a potential 20-year-old, huge velocity. The break is there at a 67. Stamina is at a 67 as well, but the 97-plus mile-an-hour fastball, nice knockout slider to follow it up with the curveball changeup combo. And this guy is a guy that is going to be pretty solid for us. I'm really excited to see him. Again, in the 40s is the hits per 9, and the walks per 9 are a little bit low. Everything else, though, he's not really letting up home runs. This guy is going to be able to hopefully get us some more strikeouts. He's pretty clutch, and it seems that we got a pretty good draft class. I do want to add, I think the draft class here was pretty solid. Unfortunately, I don't really want to push matters too much further, and I don't think we have enough time to actually get the Miami Marlins video in the game that we did play, because that one is a doozy, and I really did want to include it. So we are going to have to save the Miami Marlins franchise for another day, unfortunately. If you guys did enjoy today's video, be sure to leave a like, comment down below, and subscribe for more amazing content, because only you can make a difference for today's channel, so your support is always greatly appreciated. And with that being said, guys, I will see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.